Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is September 15th, 2022. We are in the New Testament, and we are in the book of Luke, and we are doing chapter 10, and we're going to go from verse 25 to the end of this chapter, which, if I get this page turned, is 42. So we're going to read Luke chapter 10, verse 25 to 42. All right, so we get to start off with the parable of the Good Samaritan. So one of his followers is saying, "Hey, teacher, if I have to be good to my neighbor, who's my neighbor?" And he says, well, tells him the story of the Good Samaritan. A man gets hurt, and you have a priest. So you have one and then two very pious, very religious Jewish people who ignore that person. And then you have a Samaritan. And that's basically how the Jews thought about Samaritans at that time. He sees the guy, he has compassion on the guy. Hey, he's hurt. The least I can do is take care of him and make sure that he recovers. And Jesus says that's what it is to be your neighbor. That without regard to race, religion, rather than they're your enemies or your friends or whatever. Hey, if somebody's in need, somebody is hurt, somebody I can help them. The end. That's it. That's your neighbor. Anyone you can help is your neighbor. Then he tells us the story of Mary and Martha, two sisters, and he goes to their house, and Martha's busy and working and trying to feed everybody, and Mary is just devoted to Christ. Won't leave him, sits at his feet, wants to hear every word, and Martha's like, hey, you know what, maybe you should tell her to come and help me. And Jesus says, well, you know what, maybe you should stop what you're doing and come and sit at my feet, because you're not going to get this opportunity again. God is first. Hey, I can do this, or I can pray. I pray. I can do this. I can go check my cell phone, or I can go read the Bible. I'm going to read the Bible. I can go help a friend. I can go watch TV. I'll help the friend. God and doing right always comes first. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Luke chapter 10, verse 25 to 42 today. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tested him, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, What is written in the law? What is your reading of it? So he answered and said, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he said to him, You have answered rightly. Do this and you will live. But he, wanting to justify himself, said to Jesus, And who is my neighbor? Then Jesus answered and said, A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a certain priest came down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise a Levite, when he arrived at the place, came and looked, and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and he set him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And the next day when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said to him, Take care of him, and whatever more you spend when I come again, I will repay you. So which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him who fell among the thieves? And he said, He who showed mercy on him. Then Jesus said to him, Go and do likewise. Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. May God bless the reading of his word, and may God bless you. Bye.